So, Live and Let Die had a great comment, a great thing to bring up with minimalism, and that was, what is your fantasy self? This is something that comes up a lot in minimalist blogs and videos and things like that. And your fantasy self is basically someone that you wish you were or you plan to be in the future. So for instance, maybe you always wanted to be a mountain climber or a rock climber. So you've got all this gear associated with that. But you're not, are you? You don't climb any mountains, right? But you plan to, or you will someday, or as soon as this happens, or you get a little bit more free time or something like that, right? Someday I'm going to, I don't know, be a bicycler. So I've got my cool bike, I've got the helmet, I've got whatever gear is associated with that. But I don't use it. And I'm probably not going to, am I? It's taking up space. It's also money lost that I could get from maybe selling some of that gear. Another common fantasy self is your size, right? Someday I'm going to be able to fit into that dress. Or someday society is going to accept me walking around in that dress. But it's not happening anytime soon. So with our fantasy self, you want to look around at the things that you have that you're holding on to. Someday I'm going to start painting again. I've got all my paintbrushes and It's not going to happen. So you have two choices. Make it happen now or get rid of the crap. Okay? So yeah, you someday you're going to start painting? No. Wake up an hour earlier every day and paint. Just do it. If you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to take the time now, and there's not a definitive date when this is going to start happening, get rid of it. Let it go, let it go, let it go. So what I would encourage you to do is think about this and write down in the comments for us what your fantasy self is. I'll share you my fantasy self that I recently let go of, and that is, my fantasy self was someone who played ukulele. I owned a ukulele. I bought a brand new ukulele a couple of years ago. I did start practicing. I learned a couple songs on it. But since then, I've switched jobs. I've had more kids. I've been working on YouTube. I just don't have the same time that I used to practice it and work at it. And I did really enjoy it, and I loved it. And my fantasy self was that someday I was going to practice more. But you know what I realized? That even if I have more time in my day, I'm not going to use it to practice the ukulele. I'm just not. I've got other things that are bigger priorities for me. So I just recently really let go of that fantasy self. I gave the ukulele to my cousin Becca. Becca BK, check out her channel. She's awesome. She hasn't posted in a while, so get on that, Becca. But we have a couple songs together actually on this channel that we did with ukulele. No, that's not true. She's playing ukulele because she's better at it than me. I'm only doing one by myself. Regardless, ukulele was my fantasy self. I also used to, a while ago, have a fantasy self as someone who's going to be like this backpacker, and I had like camping gear and all this stuff. It doesn't happen. So what you have to tell yourself is, you know what? I can always repurchase this stuff. I can buy this again in the future if I do end up getting back into hiking or camping or painting or ukulele. I can buy another ukulele in 10 years if that's really, someday when I retire, I want to pick up the ukulele, great, I can buy it. So what is your fantasy self? Why are you holding on to it? Get rid of the dress if you're not going to fit into it anytime soon. Ditch the ukulele. Let go of these things. Or are you going to make it happen? You say, you know what? No, I'm losing this weight by Christmas so I can fit into that dress. Or I'm going to spend an hour practicing ukulele every day. If it's worth it, make the time. If it's not worth it, let it go, let it go, let it go.